Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday and welcome to another Monday Masterclass with your girl, Natalie, the Keto Bikini Pro. And we are live on Zoom, live on Facebook, in the group. Opening up the chat. All right, chat is open on Zoom. And chat is open on Facebook. Cool. Drop a comment on Facebook if you're watching, so I know that everything is working over there, please. And I can see that I have some ladies joining me on Zoom. What up, what up, what up? This is a popular topic today. And I think I'm probably going to do more of these on supplements because everybody always has lots of questions about supplements. Okay, first do me a favor and drop a comment. Let me know if you can hear my loud air conditioning. Is it impacting the audio at all? If so, I will turn it off and sweat through this masterclass. Yay, okay, Natalie says it's all good. Hopefully you didn't see Bronson's bear behind just run by. I think he was out of shot. You never know when there just may be a scantily clad man running around this place. More views. Okay, cool. Good. Glad you can hear me. All right. So let me go down the list before we get into tonight's topic of the specific supplements you all asked about for me to go into tonight. The number one most popular supplement. Anybody want to take a guess? This one was requested multiple times by multiple people. I think I had at least 4 or 5 requests for this one. And this is interesting. It's a new one. Newish. I suppose it is quite popular these days in keto space, low carb space, because I never used to get asked about it and now I get asked about it a lot. So anybody want to guess what the most popular request was? Any guesses? If you commented earlier today, you probably saw it in the list of comments. All right, drum roll, please. It was berberine. Everybody's so interested in berberine right now. I wonder why. Don't worry, we'll get into that in a little bit. Other things on the list. Always a long time popular one, probably second most requested on this masterclass, but most requested, I think, of all time questions that I get, creatine. Creatine is always a very, very top requested supplement. All right, also on the list tonight, we have ox bile, we have NAC, we have NAD and NMN, we have exogenous ketones, MCT oil, magnesium glycinate, nitric oxide, and peptides. Those are the ones that made the grade for tonight. On my first masterclass about supplements, I did this over a year ago. It was last April 2022. I know I discussed protein powder, fat burners. Pre-workout was a really popular one on that masterclass. And I'm not remembering off the top of my head other things. So if you're interested in knowing specifically about those, go check out my first masterclass on supplements. All of my past masterclasses are in the Facebook group exclusively. Currently, they are not anywhere else. They are unlisted on my YouTube. So the only place I'm sharing those links the last year, almost year and a half, has only been in the group. So you can search the group just like you can search Google. You can search any topic, and if there is a masterclass on it, it should pop up. Also, you can search specifically in the guides section and scroll through all of the topics we've ever done, or you can check out past events in the group and you can see them all there as well. That being said, another masterclass where we talked about supplements was on my hydration masterclass. So if you are specifically interested in electrolytes, definitely check out the hydration masterclass. So tonight, I actually want to take a step back and I want to do what I always do, which is empower you, because that is what will move the needle more, not only for you and your journey, but everyone around you, because you will be educated and empowered to understand these things for yourself and then to pay it forward to others, which is my biggest mission on earth, create a ripple effect. So, as I always say, my biggest goal for you is to become the CEO of your body and your journey. So I want you to have the tools to discern for yourself whether or not you should run and get the latest and greatest supplement trend that is out there. Anything you hear about. What we're going to go into first tonight is how to think about supplements. I know that the thing that will change your journey the most and others is understanding how to think about these things rather than me giving you the answer. So I would rather teach a woman to fish than give you a fish. So tonight, get ready to learn how to fish for supplements. All right. So first, I'm going to go through some of the important things you need to understand about supplements, all supplements, and how to apply it. Then we're going to talk about questions you need to ask yourself before you buy or try any new supplement. And then once you've made the decision to try a supplement, we're going to talk about what to do before you try it, and then how to test it out, how to properly test out, try out, test out a supplement, and know whether or not it's working for you. Then we will get into some of the specific supplements that you have asked about tonight. I'll share my thoughts on those, my opinions, and then I will send you on your way. Hopefully sounds good. And of course, as usual, if other questions come up throughout, if you have questions about anything that I'm talking about, drop your questions in the chat and I will address them on tonight as well, specifically about supplements. If you have questions about other things, drop them in the group and I will either do a masterclass on them in the future or I'll answer you right there in the group. Hey, Alice, so glad you're on. Hey, Shirley, love that you're on Facebook. Glad I'm not alone over there either. Awesome. Okay, so first things first, what you need to understand about supplements. Oh, good, I've got Andrea's coming on, yay, okay. Move this over to the side here. Cool. All right, so first topic of the night. How to think about supplements. Most importantly, you need to understand that supplements are very powerful. Just because they're natural does not mean they're not powerful and cannot have negative effects. So I want you to think about supplements like medications. Like, would you just go and jump on any new medication that's out there, pharmaceutical that's out there, without doing research or asking your doctor or getting more information about it? No. So you need to think about supplements the same way. Many times supplements are derived from things that are already in our foods that we are getting in some form from our food, or natural substances from the body that have either been synthesized from other sources or taken from the body and then used in therapeutic doses. This is the key part, therapeutic doses to create powerful therapeutic effects in the body. So they're serious business and they should not be taken lightly, and they shouldn't be taken without guidance from your health practitioner. So 9 times out of 10, here's the blanket statement. 9 times out of 10, you probably don't need them, and you probably shouldn't mess with them unless your medical professional, and this can be your doctor, this can be a dietitian, this can be a nutritionist, this can be your, in some cases, maybe a personal trainer, but it should be a health practitioner of some kind, your health coach. Nutritional therapy practitioners are great for this. Functional medicine doctors are great for this. I did not do the disclaimer I should do at the beginning of all of these videos. I am not a doctor. I am not a licensed medical professional. I am a certified health coach, a nutritional therapy practitioner, and a personal trainer, and a behavior change specialist. So, you know, I'm all about the change your mind, change your life. But I'm not your doctor. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not your doctor. So I will be saying many times to seek advice and guidance and recommendations from a health practitioner who understands and knows your full health history. So not just anyone, not like YouTube doctors and whatnot. They need to understand your unique context. So yes, Andrea, I will be talking about berberine and ox bile. They're on the list for tonight. But first, I know you missed my intro, but I'm doing what I always love to do, and that is explaining the concepts before I get into my thoughts on the things, because I want you all to be able to think critically about these things on your own. So, all right, next thing to understand is that any supplement can either be beneficial or harmful depending on your own personal context. So never, ever, 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 ever just try anything just because it's popular or trendy. Always do a little more research. So we're gonna get into all of that next. Okay, next up, questions to ask yourself before buying or trying a supplement. Number 1, what is it and how does it work in the body? If you cannot answer that question, please do not put it in your body. And the same can be said for pharmaceuticals. If a doctor prescribes something to you, ask them, what is the mechanism? How does it work in the body? What is it going to do to me? Read the pamphlet they give you when you get pharmaceuticals. Same thing with supplements. Read and understand what they do. Secondly, and probably most important of all, and this is the question I always ask my clients when they ask me about a supplement, what do you think about X? I will always say, why do you ask? Why are you interested in it? What are you trying to accomplish? And how is this supplement going to help? Or why do you believe that this supplement will help? So if you can't understand, if you're not already thinking about it through the lens of what is this going to do for me and why do I need it? Boom. And that's really the next question. Does it apply to my context? Am I a candidate for it? For instance, many supplements out there are most beneficial. And here's the cool thing. You can Google and you can pull up studies that were done. PubMed is public knowledge, so you can look it up on Google. And if you start looking these things up and start getting these scientific articles and studies, like it's going to pop up in your Google responses in your search more often. When I search almost anything these days, I end up with a study because I've gotten so many of them over the years. So it will, Google's kind of watching you and knows what you're asking about. So if you ask these kinds of things in, then you'll be able to find these articles really easily. So am I a candidate for it? What I was about to say is a lot of the time, supplements that have the most impact on people positively are people who are deficient in that thing. For instance, you've probably heard that most human beings are deficient in vitamin D. So most people can benefit from some sort of vitamin D supplementation. However, there are considerations you need to think about with vitamin D. We're not going to go down that road today, but happy to add it to, maybe I'll do just kind of a general supplement class where I can just talk about things like vitamin C, vitamin D, fish oil, all of like probiotics, all of the things that you pretty much hear about all the time, and kind of a quick rundown of each of them. If you're interested in that, let me know. I'll plan a future class on it. But even something as simple as vitamin D can have negative effects in the body if you don't need it. And if you already have sufficient amounts, you can oversupplement. Okay. So does it apply to my context? Am I a candidate? For instance, do I have a deficiency? And along those lines, if you have not been tested, if you haven't had your lab work done, and you don't even remember the last time you had your lab work done, and you don't know about the levels in your body of particular vitamins and minerals that you think you need to supplement with, it would really be helpful to get some lab work and find out first, or work with a functional practitioner who can get diagnostic lab work done, or basic mineral analysis, vitamin analysis kind of things. Okay, can I get this same benefit with diet or lifestyle changes? This is a big one, because if you can, which many times you can, then the question is, why am I trying to take a shortcut? And would it be beneficial to me to try to take this shortcut when I haven't already mastered the basics? What am I trying to avoid here? Do I think that this is going to be a magic pill? You may have heard me say before, you are the magic pill. There is no magic pill that you're going to take that's going to make everything work when it wasn't working. You are the magic pill. So investing that time, energy, money, effort into yourself, preparing your mind to make changes, preparing your body to make changes, and then acting on it is going to be more powerful for you 9 times out of 10 than taking a supplement. Next, is this supplement already available in food form? Could I get enough of this from my diet alone if I were to just make some changes to my diet to make sure that I'm getting nutrient dense, bioavailable forms of this supplement I'm looking for? Once again, if you can, there are many that you're not going to find in therapeutic doses in food, but many times we don't all need these therapeutic doses, and sometimes you can throw off the balance in your body by putting therapeutic doses of something in your body that you don't need, that can act on other minerals and vitamins and amino acids and hormones in your body. The most important thing to remember about your body in general and health and nutrition is your body's always trying to find and maintain homeostasis. So when you do anything like taking a supplement, taking a medication, doing things that throw your body off balance, your body is now going to fight to find that new homeostasis. So most of the time I say, don't mess with it, once again, unless you have a purpose and it's recommended by your medical professional. So final question to ask yourself before buying or trying a new supplement. Can I explain this in detail to someone else? If somebody else asked me at a party, oh, you're taking such and such, why are you taking that? What does it do? How is it helping? Is it working? Yada, yada. Could you explain that without having to look at a sheet of paper that has an article on it with descriptions? So if you couldn't teach somebody else about it or explain it to somebody else, then you probably have no business putting it in your own body. All right, now let's say you're like, okay, I get it. I understand it now. I really want to take this supplement. Now what do I do? Okay, so before you try the new supplement, first, understand your own condition, whether it's something you have a diagnosis for or it's undiagnosed. What are your symptoms? What are you trying to improve upon? Once you understand what that supplement does and why you're interested in it, you need to have some sort of notes about your symptoms or about what you're trying to improve. So that when you start taking it, you can see if it's making any kind of a difference or not. Just like if you go to your doctor and they ask you, you go to the doctor for symptoms that you're having, and then you can't describe the symptoms to your doctor, they're going to be at a loss for what they can tell you. You have to be able to describe it. So take notes or document what's going on with you, and then document your how things change once you start taking the supplement. So basically be able to assess it. All right, next what you need to do before you take the new supplement is assess where you're at with other things. Like I said, the basics, diet, lifestyle, fitness. What is your sleep looking like? Have you dialed in all of these other things? Because if you're not drinking any water and you're eating like crap and you're sedentary and you're not sleeping, putting supplements on top of that is like trying to put a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. It's not going to do anything. And if anything, it can make things worse. So make sure you've got the basics dialed in first. Okay, next, I already kind of touched on this one, but research the supplement in question. Especially, here's a big piece about that. Look up contraindications. So you need to understand if that supplement may impact or react to other supplements you're taking or medications that you're taking. And this responsibility is on you. If you're working with a practitioner, they need to understand everything you're taking, and you can ask them for guidance on, okay, I'm taking this medication, I'm taking these supplements, I'm thinking about adding this supplement. Will that interact or fight against something else that I'm taking? Do I need to take it at a certain time? Do I need to take it away from this other supplement? Because especially minerals, they are protagonists and antagonists with one another. So they will, some of them compete. Here's kind of a little tip for anybody taking L-glutamine. I just mentioned this to a new client. If you're taking L-glutamine, it will compete with other amino acids. So if you've been taking L-glutamine by adding it to your protein shake, you may not be getting the benefits you were seeking from the L-glutamine, particularly for gut health. So things like that, if you don't understand that about the supplements you're taking, find out. Other things you want to make sure you're not taking together. So finally, just to beat the dead horse even further, you want to consult with a medical or health practitioner for a professional opinion or recommendation. They need to understand your whole health history. So inform them of everything else you're taking, recent changes to your health status, your diet, your lifestyle. They need to understand all of that. And then finally, if you are unsure at all about a supplement, do not put it in your body. It is just going to be a no. You have to be confident about it and sure of it. All right. And now, once you have gone through all of those things and you're like, yep, hey, I worked with my functional doctor. He said to try this for this reason. I understand what it's doing in my body. I understand what to look out for. Here's how you test out a new supplement, ideally. Unless a practitioner has given you a protocol with multiple supplements and things to do all at once, you want to try to control for the variables like the scientific experiment. You don't want to change your diet, exercise, lifestyle, and supplements and throw a bunch of different supplements all in there all at the same time. You're not going to have any idea of what's having any impact, if anything's having any impact, and which one it was. So try to control for the other variables. Let's say you're on a ketogenic diet already. Now is not the time while you're going to put in a new supplement. It's not also the time to go on a lion diet or to go on a carnivore diet or to add carbs back in or to test out something else. So test one thing at a time. So if you're testing a new supplement, test it by itself. And then you need to make note of how it will impact you. So any new symptoms, improvement or worsening of existing symptoms, anything like that. And preferably you're reporting back to your practitioner for them to advise you in case you have any negative effects from it. Okay. That covers the basics of what I really wanted to get across tonight. So hopefully you understand that all supplements are unique and different, and they work in different ways in the body. And it's really important to understand what they're doing before you jump in. All right, now let's talk about specific ones you had questions about. The most popular was berberine. So you've probably heard of berberine in the low carb space because it is supposed to be beneficial for blood sugar. I think a lot of people lean toward berberine because of they think it's going to be real. It's going to be like this magic pill for weight loss. The reason it works, or it's touted to work, is because it is meant to bring your blood sugar down. Lower blood sugar, basically. So, the important thing to think about here with something like berberine and anything else that's purported to do the same thing, you need to understand your own status first. If you know that you're insulin resistant, if you know that you have high blood sugar, you've been tracking that, first of all, once again, you need to ask your practitioner about berberine. Is this right for you, considering your situation? But if you don't know for sure that blood sugar is an issue for you, then you're not a candidate for berberine, and you don't necessarily need to be throwing it in there just because you're doing keto. Blood sugar, low blood sugar is the answer to everything. There is such thing as too low blood sugar, so you don't want to be putting something in your body that's going to lower blood sugar while you're also following a diet that is meant to lower blood sugar, while you may be fasting, which is also going to lower blood sugar. So you don't want to be throwing a whole bunch of stuff at this thing when it could be too much for your body. I know berberine is one of those things that my functional doctor doesn't like for people to just start taking on their own. That, and I'm trying to remember what the other one was now. There was another one he mentioned is overly used. So, I mean, from what I understand and what I know, that's out there, it is very powerful, and it can have those effects. But that doesn't mean that everybody needs to jump on it because it's going to help everyone. Anything else I want to say about berberine? I mean, once again, like anything else, you want to check contraindications because it can interact with medications. And it's another thing you probably don't want to just be taking all the time. And that's kind of a general way I like to think about all supplements, is like, you just shouldn't be on a supplement for the rest of your life. It should be based on what you need and your current status and situation. Okay, ox bile was the other one, first one Andrea requested. And ox bile is typically something that is used for digestion and people who struggle with fat digestion. This is another powerful one that could go both ways. It could be positive, but can also be negative. So this is not something everybody should just run out and try because they heard it's good. Okay, so Andrea said, my blood sugar stays at 78 hours after an hour after eating, and I was suggested this supplement. That's a no for me. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, if you were suggested by a random other person and not your medical professional who understands your situation, yeah, perfect example. If you're a person who's already functioning with low blood sugar, you don't want to be throwing something in there that's just going to lower it even more. And some supplements, like adaptogens, for example, are adaptogenic. That means that your body can adapt to the current stress level or current situation. Typically talking about cortisol and stress levels. So it's not the type of supplement that is going to do one specific thing in the body. It's an adaptogen, meaning helps your body to adapt to the situation. But something like berberine is a blood sugar lowering effect. It's not going to adapt to what you particularly need. So if you don't need your blood sugar to be lowered any further, it can then not artificially, but it can then drive those blood sugar levels down lower than you need it to. Perfect example. She says, ox bile is my number one interest because I've had a gastric bypass and I'm seeing a gastrointestinal specialist next week for this. Great, so you're seeing someone who understands your situation. Perfect. Yeah, ox bile can, there can be detrimental effects if you do not need it and you use ox bile. So you can take too much, you can overdo it. So this is definitely something I wouldn't recommend anybody just go and try. It essentially helps move the bile through the system. And it helps your body digest and absorb fat from food and fat soluble vitamins. So if that is your issue, it could be beneficial for you. But for others, it can cause all kinds of I'm just going to say it, poop problems. Problems with elimination, one way or another. I was trying to find a diplomatic way to say that. So yeah, ox bile and other digestive supplements are definitely something you need to talk with a practitioner who understands your digestive symptoms and what's going on in your system more specifically. All right, now we're kind of getting into the athletic supplements a bit more. Creatine. And I think I went into creatine on my last supplement masterclass. I'm pretty sure that was another one of the questions I got there. So I'm not going to do like a huge deep dive, but the basics of creatine is that it's used for energy production and basically, specifically, converting ADP to ATP so that you can use it in muscle protein synthesis, or not muscle protein synthesis, muscle building. So when you're in the gym and you're working hard and you want to get that extra rep out because you're trying for progressive overload so you can build muscle. So you're trying to either lift more or more reps, more weight, more time and attention, whatever that progressive overload is that you're going for. Creatine, the purpose of that is to help you get that little extra boost to get a little more energy, cellular energy, so that you can do more in your performance so you can get more of a result. That is really the long and short of it. There's nothing special about creatine. It doesn't do anything special in the body. And it certainly is not going to help with muscle building if you're not already training. So creatine is one of those things where I don't recommend it for sedentary people. If you're sedentary and all you do is go for walks or take yoga classes, creatine, there are some other benefits to creatine as well. I believe I've even seen some stuff about cognitive benefits, but I mean, it's about energy production at the end of the day. It is not absolutely necessary. I don't require my clients to take creatine. A lot of them are interested and want to do it once they start consistently strength training. It is also one of the most studied supplement, sports supplement ever, pretty much. So there is a lot of literature out there about it, and it is proven. It's a proven method. So if you're active and you want to try something that you think will give you a little extra edge in your workouts, creatine is a pretty safe, proven safe and effective supplement to take for that. And you don't have to do anything fancy. You don't need to go for these like crazy marketing hype creatines. Go for a simple, basic, cheap creatine monohydrate. That is the preferred method in powder form. NAC. NAC is N-acetylcysteine. And this is a powerful immune and respiratory support supplement. I'm actually taking it myself because I'm getting over the Rona. So whenever I am feeling like I might be coming down with something, I usually keep NAC in my medicine cabinet. And so it's something that I go to for any kind of upper respiratory or immune kind of illness, sickness. That is something my doctor recommended. And that is something that I went to him and said, hey, is this a good idea? As well before taking it. It's kind of like, and this is what my doctor calls it, it's kind of like the Mucinex of supplements. Really good for getting that congestion out. So that may be, if you noticed, or if you were into the news at the time during pandemic, especially when it was in the height, they actually took NAC off of Amazon for a while. You couldn't buy it on Amazon for a while. Conspiracy much? Control much? They didn't want anybody taking a natural supplement. That's a very powerful antioxidant. And essentially what NAC is, it's a precursor to glutathione. Glutathione is one of the most powerful antioxidants in the body. So, but taking glutathione orally is not going to be bioavailable. It's not going to give you the form that you need and that your body can assimilate. So you either need to get glutathione intravenously, or ideally you would take NAC, and that's a precursor that will help naturally boost your body's own glutathione production. And that's how it does what it says it does. There were questions about NAD and NMN. And I believe these are touted for longevity. But I will say that I am not an expert here, and I'm not familiar. I've never taken it myself. I've never recommended it for clients. So this is something I cannot purport to know a lot about. So I would research that on your own and ask your own medical professional about NAD and NMN. I do know that NMN is a precursor to NAD. So similar like the NAC and the glutathione. But they are molecules, and that's about as much as I know about NAD and NMN. So apply all the questions that I said to ask yourself when it comes to that, because I'm not going to be able to give you my thoughts on it, because I don't really have any thoughts on it. All right, next up, we have more energy. We talked about creatine, energy. 3 more energy related supplements. Two of which are going to do almost exactly the same thing in your body, and that is exogenous ketones and MCT oil. If you've ever seen one of my classes before where I talked about exogenous ketones, I am not a fan. And I do not at all recommend them for fat loss. If fat loss is your goal, exogenous ketones are going to be counterproductive. Essentially, exogenous ketones and MCT oil are almost doing the same thing in your body. They are putting energy into your body instead of requiring your body to take the fat from your body and convert it to energy. So why do people use them? Particularly exogenous ketones. It gives them kind of that keto high, that boost that you get when you have really high ketones because you've eaten a lot of fat or you're in that ketogenic state. It's energy, it's pure energy you're putting into your body. If you want your body to take its own fat stores and create energy and release fatty acids and lose weight, lose body fat, excuse me, exogenous ketones are like eating a whole bunch of extra fat. Defeats the purpose, right? But in certain cases, exogenous ketones can be helpful. For instance, in situations where you are trying to achieve a therapeutic state of ketosis, this is things like epilepsy, maybe cancer treatment, different neurological and cognitive purposes, where you are trying to achieve extremely high levels of ketones for a therapeutic purpose. Once again, this would be something you would do under a medical professional supervision. Not something I recommend for the average person. If you are a very elite athlete, hard charging, you're doing a whole lot of intense training, maybe you're a long distance runner, triathlete, CrossFit, things of that nature, and you're extremely lean, you don't have much body fat on your body, and you have to perform at high levels in your sport, maybe exogenous ketones could be a way of doing that. But once again, for the majority of us, especially those of us seeking body recomposition, losing body fat, building muscle, exogenous ketones are not going to help. Oh, and then the final time that exogenous ketones may be helpful is when you're brand new to a ketogenic diet, you have lived on carbs your entire life, and you decide to go cold turkey and just jump into keto, which I also would not recommend for most people. And you feel like garbage because you're going through the keto flu. That means your body is not yet efficient at burning fatty acids for fuel. It is not conditioned to create ketones, to convert fat to ketones. And so you don't have ketones floating around. You're having a hard time getting into ketosis, not because you're eating too many carbs, but because your body is struggling, even though you have cut your carbs significantly low enough to get into ketosis and it's not happening, then for a short period of time, it may be beneficial to take some exogenous ketones, and then you're going to have to teach your body how to do that on its own. So you don't want to stick with those and take those long term. Expensive, completely unnecessary for the most part, supplement. Now, MCT oil, similar to exogenous ketones, in that MCT oil is going to be the fastest fat that you can ingest that will most quickly be converted. And it passes the blood-brain barrier. So it will quickly provide energy for the brain and the body faster than other fatty acids, short chain or long chain fatty acids. So medium chain triglycerides is what MCT stands for, medium chain fatty acids, basically. So it converts very quickly. It's basically a clean energy source. I like to use MCT oil. I use it in my coffee every day, a very small amount. You do not need a lot. And if you take a lot, you may have some bowel changes. Loose stools is something that a lot of people deal with when they're first starting out on MCT oil. It's because it does not have to go through the digestive process to be broken down like other fatty acids. So in your butter and your tallow and your other sources of fats, those have to go through the digestive process to be converted. MCT oil is going to go quickly. That's why it goes through you so fast. So it can be really good for cognitive benefits, particularly if you're struggling with focus, clarity, memory, all of those kinds of functions. It can be really good for those things. So once again, it's another thing that can be helpful in therapeutic cases. And taking too much of it is going to be counterproductive for fat loss, just like over consuming any sources of fat. But because it can be converted and used for energy so quickly, it can be more beneficial fat than a fat that has to go through the digestive process. And some people claim it's less likely in that case to be stored as fat. So, meh. It's what I choose to use in my coffee. I do not use butter, for instance. Okay. Magnesium glycinate. That's what I happen to have right here. Okay. Glycinate is one of the best forms of magnesium in capsule form. I like to also use magnesium citrate. Yes, citrate in powdered form for calming the system in the evening. But magnesium has a lot of benefits, powerful benefits. It is a mineral. It is the number one highest deficiency. It's one of the most deficient, the minerals that we are most deficient in as human beings, vitamins and minerals. So most human beings are deficient in magnesium. So for most people, it'd be beneficial to supplement with some form of magnesium. Magnesium oxide, however, this is the one that typically is going to lead to loose stools. It is not going to be as bioavailable, it's not going to be assimilated as well. So glycinate, aspartate, citrate, malate are all better forms of magnesium. Awesome, awesome mineral. Really good for, like I said, calming down in the evening. And I didn't pull up my notes about magnesium, but there are different forms of magnesium can be beneficial for different things. And some are slower to work in the body so that you don't have to take them at night. Like it's not going to make you sleepy versus others. And I'm not remembering if glycinate is one of those. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick. Glycinate versus citrate, for example. And I'm not finding it. Hold on, let me see. Citrate is, okay, that glycinate. Ah, yes, glycinate does have less bioavailability and can have more of a calming effect. Yeah, so glycinate I would take in the evening, although I also take my citrate in the evening as well. It's worth studying all the different forms. And actually, I should say this as well. This goes for most supplements. If you go looking for supplement and you see like, oh, there's all these different forms, which one do I pick? Do a little research and find out what the different ones do before you just grab one off the shelf and try it. All right, nitric oxide. This is another energy production supplement that a lot of athletes or bodybuilders use. I have never used it personally directly, but there are other things that can have that effect of improving or increasing the nitric oxide naturally in your body. It helps with blood flow, essentially. You can actually even train with things like blood flow restriction that can have positive benefits, but we're not talking about training here tonight. We're talking about supplements. So, anything else I want to say about nitric oxide? it's one of those where I would say, I mean, once again, that's another one I've never recommended to clients. I've never taken myself. I'm not an expert on it. I would research it and identify why you think it might be beneficial for you, and consult with a medical professional about that. And then peptides. And this I'm seeing, this is another kind of new popular trendy thing that's being talked about a lot. This question specifically was not about the ones that are being reported for weight loss, the GLP-1, but others for anti-aging, muscle growth, etc. Here's the thing about peptides. All they are is basically smaller versions of proteins. They're a short chain of amino acids. They are purported to have different types of peptides, do a lot of different things in the body. So you'd have to look up specifically which peptide you're interested in, what it does, and how it works in the body, and whether you think it's beneficial for you. But they're purported to have anti-aging, anti-inflammatory, or muscle building properties, but you'd have to look up the specific one to get more information about that. Peptides also are found naturally in foods, as all amino acids are. So in general, for the same kind of question about should I be taking a protein supplement, protein shakes and whatnot, for carnivores in particular, you're probably not going to need a lot of these things. You're getting creatine from your food. You're getting all the amino acids, including L-citrulline, L-arginine, all the L's, right? Those are amino acids. So you're getting amino acids from the meats you eat. And when you're carnivore or ketovore and you're eating a lot more meat than most people do, animal-based products, foods, you're probably getting a lot more concentrations of any amino acid than any other human being is. So unlikely that you need to just be loading up on a bunch of these supplements. Double down on your nutrient-dense whole foods. And if you have gut issues, get to the root cause of your gut issues and heal your gut issues so that you can assimilate the nutrients from your food. And that is always going to be the best first defense before you jump to any supplements. At the end of the day, remember that supplements are not magic pills. You got to nail down the basics first: diet, movement, lifestyle, habits, stress, sleep, all of those things first. I think that is all I have for you tonight. Any other questions about supplements or how to think about supplements, or requests on deep dives? Hopefully at the end of this, you're understanding how to be your own best advocate and the CEO of your own body and how to make decisions for yourself. So if there are no more questions, we are right at an hour. Look at that, right at an hour. Awesome. I want to say there might have been something else I caught in one of these questions I wanted to answer. Oh, Leanne was the one that asked about NAD and MNM. She said that both can be stimulated by fasting, but curious about my thoughts or experience. So like I said, I don't have any experience with those, but most things that can be stimulated by fasting can be stimulated by other lifestyle things like training and being in a caloric deficit, or being on a ketogenic diet, which is a fasting mimicking diet on its own. And I once again have to go on the record saying I do not recommend fasting for most people. For most people, it is going to be extreme and unnecessary. All right, I think that's it for tonight. Thank you for being on with me, those of you who were here live. If you have follow-up questions or something I didn't get to on tonight's masterclass related to supplements, drop it in the group. We can chat further there, or we can do another masterclass about it in the future. All right, ladies, signing off for the night. Make it a great week. Monday motivation. Go out there and kill it. You got this. Bye.